The Persian Empire was a vast and powerful kingdom, ruled by King Xerxes from his grand palace in Susa. Amid the splendor and opulence of his empire, a remarkable story of courage and faith unfolded, a story that would change the destiny of an entire people. Esther, an orphan Jewish girl, was living in exile under the care of her cousin Mordecai. She could not have imagined the extraordinary path her life would take. From her humble beginnings, she was chosen to become queen, a position that would test her faith, courage, and identity in ways she never anticipated. When Queen Vashti defied King Xerxes by refusing to appear at his banquet, she was stripped of her title. A search began for a new queen, and the most beautiful young women in the empire were brought to the palace. Among them was Esther, whose grace and beauty caught the attention of the king. Though Esther lived in the palace, she obeyed Mordecai's advice to keep her Jewish identity a secret. She won the king's favor and was crowned queen, yet her heart remained with her people who lived under the shadow of prejudice and oppression. Trouble arose when Haman, the king's most powerful official, was enraged by Mordecai's refusal to bow to him. Mordecai, faithful to the God of Israel, would not worship a man. Haman's pride turned into hatred, not only toward Mordecai but toward all the Jewish people. He devised a sinister plan to annihilate every Jew in the empire. With the king's unwitting approval, Haman issued a decree setting a date for their destruction. The news spread like wildfire, plunging the Jewish people into despair. Mordecai tore his clothes, wore sackcloth and ashes, and wept openly at the city gates. But he also knew where hope could be found. Mordecai sent word to Esther, urging her to go to the king and plead for her people's lives. But Esther hesitated. Approaching the king without being summoned was punishable by death, even for the queen. Mordecai's response was both sobering and inspiring. Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? Esther's heart burdened with conviction. She knew the race but also the responsibility. Calling for a 3-day fast among the Jews, she prepared herself spiritually for the task ahead. On the 3rd day, dressed in royal robes, Esther entered the king's inner court uninvited. The air was thick with tension. Would the king extend his golden scepter, or would her bravery cost her life? To her relief, the king welcomed her warmly, asking, "What is your request? Even up to half the kingdom, it will be given to you." Esther did not immediately reveal her true purpose. Instead, she invited the king and Haman to a banquet. At the second banquet, Esther's courage reached its peak. She revealed her Jewish identity and exposed Haman's plot. "If I have found favor with you, your majesty, and if it pleases you, grant me my life. This is my petition, and spare my people. This is my request." The king, outraged, ordered Haman's execution. The very gallows Haman had built for Mordecai became his own downfall. Though Haman was defeated, the decree he issued could not be revoked. To save her people, Esther and Mordecai worked together to issue a new decree, allowing the Jews to defend themselves against their enemies. On the appointed day, the Jews triumphed and their sorrow turned to joy. The day was established as the Festival of Purim, celebrated annually to remember how God saved his people through the bravery of one woman. Esther's story is one of divine timing and courage. She rose above fear, risked her life, and trusted God to use her position for her purpose. Her faithfulness reminds us that even when God seems silent, He is sovereignly working behind the scenes. Esther's courage and faith inspires us to ask, are we willing to step into the roles God has placed us in, even when it is uncomfortable or risky? You may not be a queen or in the palace, but God has placed you where you are for a reason. Who knows what lives you could impact if you step out in faith? And who knows but that you have come to your position for such a time as this? Esther chapter 4 verse 14. Take action today. Pray for God's guidance and ask Him to reveal how He can use you right where you are. Be bold in your faith, knowing that when you stand for God, He will stand with you. Will you choose courage like Esther and step into your God-given purpose? The time is now.